Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So I wanted to do a Q&A video here. It's the 1st of December, 1st of the month here, and obviously that's just very exciting because that just means we're that much closer to The Walking Dead, the ones who live. And I'm just excited for this trailer, honestly. Like, that's the first thing I thought about when I woke up. I'm like, it's December 1st now, so we're sort of just like in December territory now in terms of the trailer's release. And I'm like, when are they going to release it? In the next week or so? It really feels like it's going to be around maybe Christmas time towards the end of the year there, or like New Year's Day. Feels like it's going to be sort of the release window there. And so we're about, what, 3 weeks away or something, if they do plan to release it then. I mean, just, right now, obviously we're going to be speculating a lot on that. And I'm just excited for the show because in 2 more months, it's February. And I really can't wait for the show to air. So before we go any further, obviously, make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all of my Walking Dead The Ones Who Live content like this. I'll be breaking down every single teaser, every single trailer, everything that comes out for this show. And I also saw that House of the Dragon will be actually posting their first teaser tomorrow, so I'll have to watch that and do a video on that as well, because that's premiering next summer. So I'm very, very excited for that. So I guess let's just get into the Q&A here. If you do want to join these Q&As, definitely go follow the Discord. The server name's Appetite for the Dead. There should be a link in the description of this video. I obviously ask for questions every single week, and I usually do these Q&As on Wednesdays. Today's not Wednesday, but I had some other videos that I wanted to do, and plus it's the first right away, so I was like, I'll just do the Q&A on the first. But anyways, let's actually get into the first question here. So, do you see Rick becoming a high-ranking CRM person or soldier? And if so, why? Well, I don't know. There's just a part of me that really believes that at some point here in this show that it's going to end in a way that does sort of set up a season 2, because I know they're talking about it being like the 6-episode limited series kind of thing, but if you just look at the wording of what they've said, they've never said, I mean, first of all, I don't think this show is going to be a TV show that has seasons coming out every single year. So just because this show is premiering in February 2024, if it does get a season 2, I don't think that means it's coming out in February 2025. Like, it might come out in the fall of 2025 or early 2026. It might take about a year or two, or about 2 years, right? Like, I think it's going to take some time. And there was just some stuff with filming, and there was just some stuff with just everything there. And like, I usually, in terms of spoilers and stuff like that, people will tweet at me a bunch of stuff, and I'll usually see things, or like, you know what I mean? Like, you'll see stuff online sometimes because people will just kind of post things everywhere. And I've never got the indication at all. I've never seen anything anywhere, no article or anything posted anywhere where they were like, oh, we're going to have, like certain cast members come back to do like this one scene type of thing. Now, obviously they could film in secret, right? Like, if you look at the very final episode of The Walking Dead, they had Rick and Michonne go back at some point in August. I believe they stopped filming earlier that year, like very early in the year. And then that August, they filmed for a week or however long that was. I don't know how long it was, but they filmed for a little bit, those scenes there for Rick and Michonne. So to me, they could have done something like that. They could have just stopped filming the entire show. And then, because again, they stopped filming, I believe at the end of May, early June or something like that. I think it was the end of May. Who knows? Like, maybe at some point this summer, they all sort of got back together, or they filmed like this other scene in secret when, people weren't really necessarily watching them, just so that, they didn't have to spoil the ending or whatever. Like, that's also very, very possible. But I promise I'm getting to the actual answer to the question. I just really feel like where this show is going to go in this first season is we're going to see Rick and Michonne, reunite at some point. They're going to be dealing with the CRM and all of that. And I can just see them by the end, like in the finale, it ending in some sort of cliffhanger where Rick could be a CRM soldier or something like that. And there's just some kind of cliffhanger because now they're fighting back or something like that, right? Like, in the beginning, they weren't fighting back, but now they actually have some forces to be able to fight back against a CRM. And so he could be a CRM soldier, or he could have an outfit that obviously resembles a CRM soldier. And there's this one character right here that obviously you're looking at the outfit here, and the outfit just looks absolutely incredible. And obviously this is a CRM soldier, but is he? That was the one thing that I questioned right away. I was like, is this a CRM soldier? What if this is some sort of other force fighting the CRM? And this shot is from something that happens later on in the show, towards the end, like in the finale or episode 5 or something like that, where we see Rick basically join, this cause here or whatever it may be. And so now they have some power to fight back against Major General Beale. And that is sort of how season 1 ends, right? Like, I can just really see that being the case. I don't know. I'm just getting this vibe from this show that it's not just a 1 season thing. Because if it's 1 season, like, there's such a big story here. Like, I just don't think it makes a lot of sense, because you got to remember, like, you have to remember the original plan for the Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, it was a Rick movie trilogy. They would have filmed the first movie for several months. It would have been several months, 6 months or something like that. Basically, as long as they filmed The Ones Who Live. And Andrew Lincoln wanted to do 3 of those. He actually wanted to do 3 movies that would have came out over a couple of years. And then all of a sudden, now they're going into like this limited series format. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, why would you end it like that? You know, to do a limited series format like that after you were gonna film, you know, for like 6 months or however long it would have been to film the entire movie, right? Like, and you would have done that over several years, you know, like in Andrew Lincoln's head, he was probably like, well, I'm gonna be with this character for a long time still, right? And then all of a sudden to be like, no, it's just gonna be this 6-episode thing that we can film in the same amount of time and just tell over 6 episodes kind of thing. And I know people focus on the runtime. You got to remember, filming a TV show, or not filming a TV show, but telling a story through a TV show format is different than telling it during a movie. Like, you can't tell the same type of story. In a movie, the pacing is so fast. Like, if you just look at The Walking Dead, Dead City, that is 6 episodes. Could you split up the whole season of Dead City and into like 3 movies that would be entertaining? You couldn't at all. Even with Daryl Dixon, you couldn't split up that entire 6-episode format into 3 movies and have them come out over several years and expect that to be entertaining in a movie theater. You just can't. That story would have to be like told so much faster. And that was the issue with the Rick movie trilogy. Everyone was like, well, how can you tell a Walking Dead story as like a movie? Like, it's kind of hard because, the whole thing with Walking Dead characters is you really just sit with the characters for a very long time, right? You sit with that story and you really, like, it's a TV show, and TV shows are very popular right now, so I think that's really why the movie just never went anywhere, because I don't think the story was that good because it was just way too hard to tell it. And I think that that's why doing 3 seasons or something like that, or maybe they're going to go to 2 or whatever, I think makes so much sense. I think it makes a lot of sense, especially because they had a lot of commitment. And again, that's a big commitment to do a movie trilogy for several years, just to cut it all the way down to like a 6-episode thing. It just doesn't add up to me. It really doesn't. And I think there's going to be more. And so to your original question, do I think he's going to be a CRM soldier? I could totally see it. I can see that happening because I think there is going to be more than 1 season. There's a reason why there hasn't really been any confirmation that, like, no, this is just 1 season. Like, people are going to argue, no, there has been confirmation. There hasn't been. Like, all they're saying is, yeah, we have 6 episodes coming out, or it's a limited series. And again, limited series, they get season 2s all the time. Like Loki did. And I think it's over now with season 2. So the same thing might happen with The Ones Who Live. It might just be 2 seasons. And Loki came out over a couple of years, right? It wasn't like season 2 came out a year later. I think it came out like 2 years later or something like that. Maybe even 3 years. I have no idea. But I think it was 2 years. It might have been 2.5 years or something. So we might have to wait the same amount of time for the next season. But that's why I think the story here is going to be a little bit bigger. So I know I had to sort of like get my point out here, but I do think overall that Rick will be a soldier. And I do think that there's a bigger story here to tell that will sort of build into a season 2. Q&A, do you think any of the World Beyond characters will show up in The Ones Who Live? I don't think so. If it does get future seasons, maybe I could see that. But, it's possible that you could introduce a character or 2. Maybe you do a reference or something like that. But because of the negative feedback from fans about that show, I just don't think they're ever going to really go there. It's the same thing with Fear the Walking Dead. I think they like certain aspects to it, and if there's fans who really want certain characters to appear in other shows, like in the spin-offs, they might do that because they'll focus more on the positive stuff to it. But in terms of World Beyond, I don't really see anyone saying, oh, I want to see this character again. Like, if there is, I mean, it's not a lot of people at all, so I don't think we're ever really going to see that. Q&A, do you think Major General Beale will die? Yeah, I think he will. Like, by the time this story is done, he will have to die because, I mean, where do you go at? Like, do you just sort of arrest him and put him like in this cell or something and sort of end his story like he sort of ended the Negan arc? I don't see that being the case because people are going to make those comparisons. Like, Rick did that once with Negan during All Out War. So would he do the same thing here, or is he going to? I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. I see that character specifically actually dying. Q&A, if you could bring back to life one side character in Fear the Walking Dead, who would it be? That's such a hard question to answer because I actually don't really know a lot of side characters. But if I had to think of one character specifically, I don't know what his name was. I really can't remember his name, but I think it was in the season 7 mid-season premiere. There was an episode in which there was a musician character, and the acting there was just incredible. Like, that character was such an incredible character, and I wish that he could have actually stayed alive, because he was like, honestly, he was a character where I was like, you know what, he could really join the cast and he would be really, really incredible. Like there was 2 characters in that season where I was like, these characters should actually become like main characters or should actually join the cast because they're incredible actors. There was the actor who played, I think his name might have been Paul. I could be wrong, but there was another character as well that season. I believe his name was Will. It's been a while since I've watched Fear the Walking Dead season 7, so I don't really remember, but yeah, those 2 characters were really good characters. Q&A, if Rick cuts his hand off, could you see the reason being to escape the CRM handcuffs we saw him in, sort of as a parallel to when Merle cut off his hand to get free of Rick's handcuffs? I don't really see him losing his hand at this point. Like, well, I will say, like, he could in, like, say they were to do 3 seasons, he could in like the final season kind of thing. But in terms of, you know, it being like right away, I know I did those videos talking about that, but like, and it is really weird when you watch the teaser, it really looks like his hand is actually, it's been cut off, or he has like this prosthetic arm or something on, but I think it's just the way it's sort of shot. When you're looking at it, like, and I've done videos pretty recently, like completely unrelated to this, talking about other things, and people are still commenting like, oh, I think Rick loses his hand kind of thing, and I at this point, I don't think he's going to. I think the shots that we're seeing, he does have his hand. It's just it could be the quality of the teaser. It could be a lot of things, but it looks like his hand just looks really weird in the shot. It's just bent a weird way, but I think it's because he's also sort of being like, there's a wire around his wrist, so it looks a little off. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be losing his hand at all or at least in the first couple of episodes anyways. Q&A, what would you think of a Rick and Negan spinoff once Dead City, Daryl Dixon, and The Ones Who Live all finish in, say, 3 to 5 years, and inevitably culminate with a reunion? You know what? Like, I would like that, obviously. I think that would be, like, that's what I mean with The Ones Who Live being 1 season. It just can't be, because there's so many reunions like that I'm like, I want to see these characters talking about stuff. I want to see these characters discussing certain things. And Rick and Negan together again would be absolutely incredible, because there are certain things that have happened since All Out War, since they discussed all that stuff regarding Carl and Negan spent time in that cell, that I'm like, I want to see those characters together, working together, or just talking about certain things, because it was just such a big moment just to have all of that just sort of go away, to end Rick and Michonne's stories separately, to never get those scenes. It just feels like, I don't know, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating, you know? So I do want to see that. I really do. If they were to ever do a spinoff like that, that would be amazing. I don't think they would ever do an actual spinoff just on Rick and Negan, though. Like, I think they could do a spinoff where they're all together in one show kind of thing. In terms of it just being like a focused spinoff on Rick and Negan, I don't think that's ever going to happen. But I'm going to leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.